Hey guys, Todd here. Today I want to show you some really cool stuff that I'm doing with the Elevate truck rack. I'm going to give you a real quick peek what's going on. Then I'm just going to go ahead and flip on so you guys can see what's happening here. Okay, so here I've got, it's just the Ford Maverick. This is the Elevate truck rack. That has been the rock star of utility for this truck. It's really, really cool. So some of the things that I've got on here, you may recognize what they are, you may not, so I'm going to go over them with you real quick. First of all, we've got from Rhino Rack fishing rod carrier. Now the way that works, you got a little button that's up right here. Press that button, it pops up, and you can hold up to 4 fishing rods. Personally, if I go more than 2, it starts seeming a little crowded. But anyway, these come in pairs. So this and that is going to be one kit. Now you can also get this right here is actually an additional bracket from Rhino Rack that kind of offsets it off to the side, so it does like this. I've got it set on the Maverick at the highest extreme that I can, and it keeps it nice and far away from the paint. It's not really flexing towards the paint at all whenever I wiggle on it. I mean, a little bit, but it still stays, quite a ways away. Something else I wanted to point out too, where I've got this front one set up, I was thinking maybe I should swap it with the location of the upright. Just swap those two around. But what happens if I put this here is it ends up putting the rack right here. And where it is here, I can still open and close the fuel door, and that works just fine. So if you guys are thinking about doing that, I just want to give you a heads up. This is the best way to do it. Now you do have about 2.5 feet of distance between those fishing rod holders, so it's going to give you a good bit of stability there. Once it's clamped down, it holds those fishing rods nice and tight. Also on the bottom here, it does have a space where you can lock down with a key. So yeah, you can lock it down here. Obviously, if somebody's got a 10 millimeter, they can pull it off right there. But at least you've got some kind of security there. But let me also talk about this hardware real quick. The hardware that came with this bracket from Rhino Rack was actually a little bit too long, but it's not the end of the world. It's really easy hardware to find. These bolts are all M6 bolts. M6 basically means 6 millimeter in diameter of the bolt itself, the threaded portion of the bolt, not the bolt head. The bolt head is going to be a 10 millimeter. So it's 6 millimeter or M6 by 1.0 is a thread pitch. And these are going to be 16 millimeters long. The ones that came in the kit were about 20, and that's too long. So M6 by 1.0 by 16 millimeters is where you want to be on that. And that puts this perfectly here. Now, whenever you're lining that up, keep in mind that this is kind of close to the paint. So just make sure that you get that nice and finger tight before you let go of this, so you're not banging your paint while you're installing it. Something else I wanted to kind of show you, this is another one of those fishing rod holders. The way this works, now I've got it kind of taken apart down here. You've got these bolts that come up from the bottom. So this is the kit when it comes out of the box. They're designed to be able to clamp around your uprights, but these kits it's kind of hard to see, but they're not quite tall enough for the uprights. I can get longer bolts here, but there's actually a quicker way to do it if I want to attach it to the uprights on the Elevate rack. So you can kind of see where that one is right there. I've got the seal on the gap seal pulled out of the way, so I've got this temporarily installed. But the way this works is when you open these up, on the inside you can see you've got these things right here that is pulled off with an Allen wrench. I've already got the other one right here pulled off that goes through there, and here is that bolt. It is a square head bolt, and let me show you, it fits right in the T-slot on the top of the Elevate rack. It also, just so you guys know, if you're curious, it's the exact same T-slot on the bottom. You have options for that bottom track as well, in case you didn't know about that. Surprise. All right, so basically what you can do there is you run a couple of bolts into that track and line it up, and then you put the hardware back on top of those bolts and tighten it down, and then you can just close the rack. And that's going to hold it nice and tight, and that way you can have your rod holders up on the top if you want to do that. Personally, I like having the access to the side, but that does require buying the extra bracket. Now, something else that I've got on here is the Rhino Rack kayak holders or kayak racks, and I've got this set up. This is also Rhino Rack gives you in the kit some tie downs to lash them into place, and so that is secured, ready to go on a trip. It's also got a nice little convenient spot to put a paddle that also goes in a couple different places on the rack. This is an adjustable rack, so I can adjust the angle of this rack, you know, back and forth. But it's really simple to use, guys. And yeah, that's everything with that I've done with the Elevate rack right now. So if I want to go fishing in a kayak, I am set up to do so in my Maverick. Now, if you're wondering about all the parts and pieces, the racks, all that, I'm going to drop the part numbers down into the comments or into the link. And if you guys have any questions, you can always reach out and you know, reach out to the guys over at Real Truck. Thanks.